What if I told you that some of the biggest clubs and national teams in football history share one thing in common? And it's not trophies, it's choking. When the pressure's the highest and the title's theirs to lose, they lose it. Number 1. Arsenal. Let's start with the kings of the collapse, Arsenal Football Club. November 2013. Arsenal go 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League, their biggest lead since 2008. And what do Arsenal fans do? They start believing. What does Arsenal do? Arsenal being Arsenal. Season after season through 2014 and 2015, they'd be in the title picture by October and gone by March. Wenger's side became almost clockwork in how they'd fade, which is why by February 2016, when they drew 0-0 with Southampton, 4 games without a win, scoreless in 3 straight, nobody was even surprised anymore. Again. Then, 2022-23, this was supposed to be different. A new manager, a hungry young squad. Arsenal led the Premier League for 248 days. 248 days. That's not a title race, that's practically a full tenancy agreement on first place. And they still finished second. City came from behind and overtook them. The longest front-runner spell in modern Premier League history and nothing to show for it. We can even go back even further to 2006, Champions League final. Arsenal took the lead first against Barcelona. Lehmann gets sent off. They held and grind and then the roof caved in. 2-1, gutted at the final hurdle. Sound familiar? Now, this season, Arsenal and City are 5 points apart, with City having a game in hand and still have to meet at the Etihad. We all know how that tends to go. Number 2, PSG. Paris Saint-Germain spent more money than some small countries assembling a squad and still somehow crumbles in Europe when it matters most. 2017. PSG win the first leg against Barcelona 4-0 at home. They're basically already through. And then the new camp happens. 6-1. La remontada. The moment the whole world understood that this club falls apart when the weight gets too heavy. 2 years later, Manchester United come to Paris already losing on aggregate. PSG should be comfortable at home. They go out 3-1 on away goals. 2020, PSG finally reach a Champions League final for the first time. They lose 1-0 to Bayern Munich. 2022, heavy favourites going into the second leg against Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. Benzema scores a hat-trick in the second half. 3-1, another collapse. Another exit nobody could explain. And then 2024-25, PSG win the Champions League. But here's the irony, you genuinely cannot make it up. They weren't even in the top 8 of the league phase. They had to come through the playoffs just to reach the knockouts. The year the spotlight was fully off them, the year the pressure belonged to someone else, that's when they finally did it. And that tells you everything. Number 3, Tottenham Hotspur. There's a quote attributed to Sir Alex Ferguson, "That's Tottenham." Nobody can fully verify it was said in exactly those words, but the fact that it exists, that it circulates endlessly, that Spurs fans repeat it and laugh at themselves tells you everything you need to know about how the football world sees this club. 2015-16, Leicester City are doing the impossible. Spurs are in the title race with a genuine shot. Then comes the Battle of the Bridge. 10 yellow cards, near brawls and a draw that handed Leicester the title. Spurs didn't just lose the race, they imploded on live television. The following season they finished second with their highest ever Premier League points total. Best Spurs squad in decades. Still no trophy. 2019 Champions League final. They get there, huge achievement in itself. Liverpool 2, Tottenham 0. It wasn't even close. Then just recently, League Cup semi-final second leg against Liverpool. They lose 4-0 on the night without a single shot on target, not one. When the stage is at its biggest, something inside this football club just switches off. Number 4, Liverpool. Before the comments explode, yes, Liverpool have won big things. This list is not about overall quality, it's about what happens when you're the favourite. The moment is right there and one more push gets you over the line. The moment that became a symbol, Gerrard's slip. 2014, Liverpool just won a hard-earned 3-2 against rivals Manchester City. Steven Gerrard gathered his teammates in a huddle and famously said, "We don't let this slip now, we go again," rallying the squad, demanding they hold their nerve. Then, in the very next game against Chelsea, he literally slipped on the pitch and Demba Ba scored. Chelsea 2, Liverpool 0. Then, Liverpool vs Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. 3 goals up with 11 minutes left. The title's basically being gift-wrapped, and then Palace score, and score again, and score again. 3-3. Season over. The title is gone. The irony is almost too cruel to write. Liverpool did eventually get their rewards: the 2019 Champions League, the 2020 Premier League title. Nobody can take those away. But 2021-22, when the expectation was at its absolute peak, chasing an unprecedented quadruple, they finished 1 point behind City. 1 point across 38 games and lost 1-0 in the Champions League final against Real Madrid. Still here? Good, because this list only gets more painful. Drop a like right now, it helps the channel more than you think. Let's keep going. Number 5, England. 60 years since 1966, and in the decade since, England haven't just lost tournaments, they've built an entire culture of pressure collapse. It starts with penalties, Italia 90, Gaza in tears, semi-final exit on a shootout, Euro 96 at home, Wembley packed, arguably their best chance since 1966, and they lose a semi-final shootout to Germany. 1998 World Cup, Beckham gets sent off, they lose on penalties to Argentina. 2004, 2006, knocked out on penalties each time. By the time it became a pattern, it had become a personality. Euro 2020, England reached the final at Wembley in front of their own fans. They take the lead. Italy equalise and take it to penalties. England lose the shootout. Euro 2024, they reach the final again. Back-to-back European Championship finals. They lose 2-1 to Spain. Their shootout record across major tournaments sits at 3 wins and 7 losses. England aren't always the official betting favourites, but they're always the most hyped, and that gap between expectation and trophy haul is the whole story. Number 6, Belgium. The Golden Generation, a phrase that now carries so much sadness it almost sounds like a punchline. For years, Belgium sat at or near the top of the FIFA World Rankings. De Bruyne, Lukaku, Hazard, Courtois, Company. On paper, one of the most talented squads a smaller nation has ever assembled. And in tournament football, when the defining moments came, absolutely nothing. 2016, Wales knocked them out 3-1 at the Euros. Wales. 2018, they beat Brazil in the quarterfinals, arguably the result of the tournament, then lose 1-0 to France in the semi. Euro 2020, Italy 2-1 in the quarters. 2022 World Cup, a 0-0 draw with Croatia sends them home in the group stage. That golden generation finished their entire era without a single major trophy between them. The cabinet is completely empty. That is the definition of not being able to carry expectation. Number 7, Netherlands. 3 World Cup finals, 0 wins. 1974, total football. Cruyff at his absolute peak, arguably the most beautiful football ever played. They lose to West Germany 2-1 in the final. 1978, another final. Lose to Argentina on home soil. They did win Euro 1988, their only major international title, but the World Cup pattern never changed. 2010, Spain, Iniesta in extra time, 1-0. Third final, third time someone else lifts the trophy. And the Dutch media used the phrase themselves afterwards, the best team never to win it. That label is now permanently stitched into this nation's football identity. Euro 2020, knocked out 2-0 by the Czech Republic. 2 wins and 6 losses in major tournament shootouts. When it comes down to that single pressure moment, the Dutch have a history of buckled knees on the biggest stages. Number 8, Real Madrid. Here's the twist with Madrid. Despite everything, the trophies, the Galacticos, the Champions League nights, Madrid actually performs better as underdogs than as clear favourites. 2009 Copa del Rey. Alcorcon, a third division club, Madrid lose the first leg 4-0. El Alcorconazo, one of the most humiliating results in the club's history. 2021 Copa del Rey again. Lose to third division Alcoyano in extra time. 2 Copa exits to lower league sides in just over a decade. Even in their favourite competition, Champions League, they tend to stumble when they were viewed as the favourite. During their Galactico era, they only won once in 2001-2002, that famous Zidane's volley. Last season, in 2024-25, it happened again. They were the defending champions. Kylian Mbappe just joined, clear favourites, but they struggled in the league phase before finally being eliminated by Arsenal. It's worth noting that during the Champions League three-peat from 2016 to 2018, Madrid weren't the favourites in most of those ties. City were considered better. Juventus were backed heavily. Bayern and Barcelona were expected to edge them. Madrid kept coming in as the side people had discounted. Give them the underdog role and they will destroy you. Make them the favourite, suddenly the door opens. After what happened last season, the rough start to this one, managerial change, Madrid aren't being viewed as favourites today, but with Madrid, you never really know. 8 teams, 1 shared curse. The bigger the moment, the heavier the weight. If this hit different, subscribe right now. We drop videos like this every week and you do not want to miss the next one. It's already queued up on your screen, so go watch it.